Well, hello, it's Andrew Doubleday yet again. If you've been following these podcasts, what you won't know is that I've been away for the last 3 weeks. I pre-planned them, pre-recorded them and put them up on YouTube and programmed for them to come on at certain times. The most common bit of feedback I've had is that they're too long, and I accept that for this medium that's probably the case. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them short. Now, there may be more of them. I still want to stick to the Gospel lectionary-based readings for the coming Sunday, but they will be a lot shorter. So today, we're looking at the first 3 verses of our lectionary Gospel reading for this coming Sunday. Mark chapter 1, verses 9 through to 11. In those days, Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan. And just as he was coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens torn apart and the Spirit descending like a dove on him. And a voice came from heaven, "You are my Son, the Beloved. With you I am well pleased." So what we see here is a graphic picture. What did it look like? I don't know. But the Gospel describes it in the best way that it can. I'd imagine that if we were there to see the event, we will probably have described it in a similar way. And I guess it's up to each of us to use our imagination as to how it might have appeared. What we notice though is that something significant is happening here. And that is that Jesus is stepping out of obscurity. He is stepping out of the shadows of an unknown, unnoticed life. And he's stepping into the arena, into the light where he's going to be seen. This baptism marks the beginning of his public ministry. That's the first thing about it. The second thing about it is that it's an identifier for John. John has been proclaiming the coming of this one who he identifies now as Jesus. He has been proclaiming this, that there is coming one after me. He said, whose shoes, whose sandals I'm not worthy to untie. He's coming after me, and that's why I'm here. And it's when John witnesses this event, it affirms within him that he's got it right and that Jesus is the one. This is the one. It's also, and I think this is really important, it's an affirmation for Jesus. Because this event will sustain him in what's about to happen. First very quickly and then more long term. The next verse, which we will be considering in our next episode, we read that immediately the Spirit drives Jesus into the desert. And he's there for 40 days. And he has this quite different experience. I want us to notice that when good things happen, it doesn't mean that they're going to continue forever. That not all is sweetness and light. That often light is followed by darkness. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that in your life, but I certainly have in mine. We can have these wonderful mountaintop experiences, but they're so often followed by something which is difficult and hard and needs to be endured, sometimes as deep as a dark night of the soul. This happened to Jesus as well. So often we imagine it's because we've done something wrong. Jesus hasn't done anything. He simply got baptized. And so this affirmation will sustain him in what comes next. And I want to encourage you too to look at the affirmations, to look at your own high points as points that you can actually use as marker posts to actually strengthen you in times of difficulty. I want to notice though here that Jesus receives the affirmation before he's done anything at all. God's words of affirmation are not contingent upon Jesus giving a perfect performance, of having done anything brilliant or wonderful or amazing. Because we have no record that he's done anything up until now apart from that which we all do. He's been a son. He's been a brother. He's been a friend. He's been a neighbour. He's been a worker. He's been a regular part of the community in which he lives. I'd imagine a very solid, generous, kind, loving part of that community. But he's done nothing more or less than any one of us might be expected to do. He's been all the things that any one of us are. So when we hear these words are not of approval for anything he's done, but they're affection for who he is. You are my son whom I love. With you I am well pleased. The word that's used there for well pleased is agapetos, and it means in you I delight. There's a deep delight of God in Jesus. And I want us to notice that God loves Jesus for who Jesus is, but primarily because of who God is, because God is love. This is the perfect picture of love. It's before Jesus has done anything, yet he is deeply and profoundly loved. So often our own parenting makes love conditional, don't we? It's when our children behave. It's when they do things that are acceptable to us. When they show in some way that they are our children in a positive light, that we feel this warmth and this generosity and this love toward them. But we notice that in this story, God loves simply because God is love. And he loves Jesus simply for who Jesus is. I want to suggest the possibility that that can be and is the same for you and I in our relationship with God. We may not experience much in that relationship, but it may be. There's an invitation in this passage for us to recognize that those words can equally apply to us. You, says God, are my child whom I love. In you I delight. And you may be thinking, yeah, but I'm not good enough. I haven't done anything amazing. It's not about what you've done. It's about whom God has created you to be. It's about who God is and about the strength and the grace of that growing relationship. So, be open to the possibility that those words could just as readily apply to you. God bless you.